let's talk about Israel for a minute here. What do we make of Joe Biden admitting that they will not give weapons for any engagement in Rafah, the southernmost city of Gaza that everyone's stuck in right now, and the Secretary of Defense saying that they've withheld weapons to Israel as well? What are we to do with that?
Rashid Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, the Jew haters of the Democrat Party, and that control the Pentagon and the White House. I mean, if you're a Jew and you vote for Biden, you're a self-hating, suicidal cretin. That clip of what President said on my show, President Trump said on my show a month or so ago, is more true than it has ever been. If you're a Democrat of Jewish extraction and you vote for the Democrat Party and Biden in November, you hate Israel. And now they've proven it. Israel is in an existential war for its survival, and the Biden administration says, no, we get to dictate how you protect yourself and your citizens. They're scum. They're Jew-hating racist scum. But of course, this is the party of the KKK and Jim Crow, so, they're living up to their past reputation.
Geez, how many years? It was October. How many months? So October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Jeez. We're 8 months. 8 months. What though is Israel to do at this point with Rafah? And one civilian dies and, never going to hear the end of it.
Well, they need to ignore everybody. They need to ignore the mainstream media, the Biden administration. And the nice thing about Israel, despite the fact that it's incredibly heterogeneous, especially after the fall of the Soviet Union, demographically, the black Jews who were brought from Africa, the Russian Jews who escaped the collapse of the Soviet Union, the fact that they have, Muslims on the Supreme Court. It's an amazingly heterogeneous nation today, despite its small size. But despite that political diversity, the Jewish state will do whatever it has to do to save its people. I'm a little, disappointed that Bibi's been more reticent than I expected after the slaughter of the innocents October 7th. But even if the America gave them nothing and the Jewish state was completely isolated by Biden, it doesn't matter. The Jews will do what has to be done to kill all the jihadis.
We hope. It's taken a while, but your most recent Substack is about how Donald Trump kept us safe. I think people talk about the economy as the number one issue, but I think that's just people think people take the safety part for granted, maybe, because on the hierarchy of needs, being safe is more important than money, right? How did Trump keep us safe?
Yeah, it's so weird that one has to actually explain this. I have to debate Destiny tomorrow on this issue, and it's like, this is going to be like a 30-second debate. I mean, we had no wars for 4 years. What more empirical evidence do I need to provide? In comes Biden, and we have the surrender of Afghanistan, we have the invasion of Russia, and we have the slaughter of the Jews, and, a resurgent China. So the fact that it's like I'm doing a lot of interviews because, a lot of people are waking up to the fact that President Trump may be the president again. So I'm doing a lot of interviews with international media. And when you're talking to one of the journalists for the National Press Agency of a Scandinavian nation, and he seriously asked, so if your old boss wins, is he going to pull out of NATO? Is he going to ally with Russia because he likes Putin so much? And I said to this guy who's in his 30s, were you alive when we were in the White House? I mean, were you actually an adult? Do you remember those 4 years? I mean, how moronic are those questions? We killed Russians by the hundreds in Syria. We destroyed ISIS in a matter of months. But you think the world will be less safe when we come back? In one sentence, look, I used this in the White House. I stole it from the Marine Corps because I love the Marines. When people asked me back then, what is President Trump's national security strategy? I said, well, very easy. With him in the Oval Office, no better friend, no worse enemy. Our allies, Israel, the UK, our NATO friends, feel secure and safe, and our enemies crap their pants, because that's who Donald Trump is.
So the counter I've heard is, yeah, but now there's nothing holding him back because he's a one-term president now, and now he's going to be the real dictator that he's always wanted to be.
Right, because for 4 years he was constrained by who exactly? When you're president, if you wanted to help out our enemies, you wouldn't be killing Russians by the truckload in Syria. You'd be helping them like Biden does. You wouldn't be removing us and canceling the JCPOA Iran deal. You'd be giving billions. Oh, hang on, sorry, that's what Biden's doing right now. So, yeah, you're just a child. When people say that, they're just children. They're just children.
When you're talking to people in the lamestream, it must be interesting because they're like living on a totally different planet than us. Like if you just go 2 numbers up on the dial here, you're on 127, the progress channel or whatever.
Oh my
and they're
God,
just like
those
talking
people
about.
Need to be in a rubber room. I've accidentally listened to that channel. They're loonies.
You're like, what are they talking about? Like, what are you like? I imagine you're asked questions. It'd be like me coming down from the mountain and not knowing the bear joke, or what? Like you probably asked questions. You're like, what are you talking about? I don't even know. Like, what are you worried about? Again, like what are they even thinking of these days? Those people.
Well, it's a refrain that we've heard incessantly for the last 3 years. Democracy is in danger if he comes back. Yeah, because we sent armed FBI agents to raid the home of Obama. Yeah, because we put former assistants to the president in prison, like my colleague Peter Navarro, who's now rotting in a federal prison for a fake misdemeanor contempt of Congress charge. Because we illegally surveilled 250,000 Americans. Because we worked as the federal government with 13 banks to secretly surveil American customs across the nation. The threat to democracy, the nascent dictatorship is now. When you're seeing a man face 730 years in prison simply because he's the leader of the opposition, it's exactly what Dennis Prager, my friend, says. Whatever the left accuses us of doing, they are already committing themselves.
We're going to talk to Matt Boyle in a moment about the Marjorie Taylor Greene thing. Donald Trump came out and in short said, now's not the best time for this. Do you agree with Donald Trump, or should we try to vacate the speaker?
Absolutely. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a lunatic. Okay, I liked her. I had her on the show. But then when she did her secret deal to get back on the committees that Nancy had pulled her off, she lost all credibility for me. Now she's out for herself, and she's also a loose cannon. I mean, are you smoking Hunter Biden's crack pipe? With 6 months from an election, he's got a 2-seat majority, and you want to get rid of Mike Johnson. Okay, he's not exactly Matt Gaetz, but you're a lunatic 6 months before the election to give the House over to the Democrats. Marjorie Taylor Greene, sit down, shut up.
When we talk about the weakness of Mike Johnson, and you go back to all the other speakers, can you look back at a time when there was a strong Republican either speaker and or party?
That's how far you have to go back.